Happy Friday, everybody. Nice to see those names and a couple of faces up there. We got 45 minutes of Pilates Matwork going. We'll start in just a couple of minutes, maybe even a little bit less. What I want to recommend you do, we're moving through at a flow type of class, so we'll move pretty smoothly from one exercise to the next. If anything that we do is not feeling great for you today, even if it's felt good in the past, please pace yourself. Take time, get a drink of water if you need it as we go. Move through ranges that feel good to you, and we can always update and modify as we need to at a later time. But let's go ahead and get going. I'm going to start my timer, get my timer set up right now, and we'll get moving. Let's go ahead and stand up on that mat. Nice and tall. We're going to get our feet hip width apart. Pretty narrow, nice, solid base of support underneath those hips. Toes are going to be pointed straight ahead. We want to shift our weight toward the heels and then toward the toes. Let's just get rolling a little bit here. Accommodate to the ground. Feel the floor beneath your feet. Scrunch your toes into that mat a little bit. Get yourself nice and situated. We're going to settle our weight right over the front of the ankles and then soften up the knees just a touch so they're not locked out. That gives us a nice shock absorption. We're going to picture the crown of the head reaching up to the ceiling, and at the same time, that tailbone is dropping a plumb line right down between those ankle bones. We're going to hold this position, draw the belly and spine gently toward each other, like we're tightening a little seatbelt or a little corset around the waistline. If we poke our fingertips in right to the outsides of that navel, we should feel some firm muscles once we poke through that initial tissue there. Let's hold those muscles active as we take a big breath in, reaching our arms up overhead. We'll hold them active as we exhale and bring the arms down by our sides. Again, big breath in, arms come up and overhead. Clasp those palms, let's press them to the ceiling and drop the shoulder blades down and away from the ears. Hold and press down, and we're going to take our feet a little further apart from each other, maybe shoulder width, and let's point those toes out to either sides. We could bend the elbows if we need to take some pressure off of those armpits and shoulders, and let's settle our weight back toward our heels now. Again, we're going to soften our knees, drop that tailbone down toward the floor between the two heels, and let's take some nice tall side bends. Get that trunk, upper body, sides of the arms nice and warmed up. Inhale up tall, exhale, side bend reaching toward that top corner of the room. One more time, inhale up, exhale and side bend. Let's take those hands up to the ceiling. We're going to unclasp them, open them out to the sides, palms face forward, thumbs face up to the ceiling, and let's spin those fingertips. We're going to roll some circles on the walls out to either side of us. As we reach those fingertips out toward the wall, we're going to picture our collarbones coming away from the middle of the body, giving us a nice length and opening through the chest wall. Let's circle those hands the other direction. Take them forward for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Squeeze those blades behind the back. We're going to hold here, take a big breath in. As we exhale, our hands come down. Let's shrug the shoulders up to the ears and then drop them down toward the hips. Again, we're going to bring our feet in a little closer, parallel to each other, hip width apart. Hands are going to come right to our midsection. Press the heels of the hands in, just in from those hip bones, right above the pelvis. Fingertips are going to cross each other right around that belly button. And let's shift our weight forward and back toward the toes and toward the heels. Move through a range where you feel those muscles start to wake up underneath your fingertips, as that core helps us stay upright versus gravity. Shift it forward, shift it back. Let's take the weight right over those ankles again, and we're going to shift our weight from foot to foot, maybe softening those knees, bending them up just a touch more. Let's move our fingertips to our waistline. Feel those core muscles kick in as we load one leg and then load the other. We'll shift in terms of what's activating more when, as we go side to side, and let's make some circles around our base. Again, feeling those muscles kick into the fingertips as each side gets activated. Switch directions. Circle for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's go ahead and soften the knees again. We'll bring our hands down. We're going to make a quarter turn and back up toward the back edge of our mat. Feet are staying parallel to each other. Now they're going to be a little wider apart right underneath the shoulders. We'll start upright. Let's take our hands where our hips fold, where the femurs fold into the pelvis. We're going to tip that trunk forward and that tailbone back. Try to keep the knees a little bit soft. Keep them bent the same amount as we bring that body forward. Ultimately, trying to get to a point where that trunk is as close to parallel to the floor and the ceiling as we can get them. The back of the head, the middle back, and that tailbone are lined up with each other. If you feel any pulling in your back, I want you to bend your knees a bit. We'll feel those hips start to wake up now. Let's take our hands right to the outsides of the hips and gently squeeze those shoulder blades together to keep that upper body supported. We're going to shift our weight from foot to foot toward the screen and away. And as we do so, we should feel that gluteal muscle on either side kick into your hands. Shift the weight side to side. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming right back to center, we're going to take our fingertips, reach them toward the floor. Arms are vertical and just hanging nice and relaxed. We're letting gravity do the work there. Let's draw the belly gently up toward the spine and let's row those arms. Squeeze the blades, reach the hands down. Squeeze and row, reach them down. Repeat at a cadence that's working for you. We want to be able to keep that upper body nice and still, except for those shoulder blades moving on our chest wall. Here's 3. Here's 2. Row for 1, keep those elbows tucked right in by the sides as we straighten and bend them. Feel the backs of the arms start to do a little bit of work. Shoulder blades stay gently squeezed behind the body. We're gonna row for 4, or press those triceps straight rather. Here's 2, here's 1. Let's bring those hands toward the floor, take a big breath in. As we exhale, bring the hands down to the floor by bending the knees. We're gonna keep our feet flat as long as we can. And then as our hands come forward, we're gonna make our way down to our knees to all fours, but keep those big toes and those pinky toes pressed into the mat. We might get a little stretch on the underside of the feet here. We're gonna hold in this position on all fours, and let's gently rock the bottom back to the heels, and then take it up tall again to all fours. Rock back, keep those big toes pressed into the floor. Rock the body upright. Holding it here, let's curl to cat, taking that belly button to the ceiling, maybe looking toward those thighs. Reverse, releasing that tailbone toward the ceiling, breastbone forward. Curl and release. One more time. Curl to cat. Release, reverse to cow. Take it right back to the middle with that belly engaged. We're going to wag our tail side to side, moving a hip toward the screen and then the opposite hip toward the opposite screen. Not the opposite screen, the opposite wall. Take it side to side. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming right back to the middle. We'll turn the tops of the feet to the floor. Let's bring those big toes together. Bring those knees apart from each other. We're going to press that bottom back toward the heels. Keep the arms right where they are and press those heels of the hands firmly into the mat. Keeping the fingers wide and spread apart from each other. Drop your shoulders first down towards your hips, and then see if you can wrap them forward around the front of your body by pressing the heels of the hands a little more firmly into the mat. Holding here, keep those elbows straight as you can as we extend those fingers toward the wall in front of us, toward the top edge of your mat. We should be getting a nice stretch through the sides of the shoulder blades and the sides of the trunk as we lean into this position. Bring the hands a little further apart if those shoulders need a little bit more room. And let's see if we can draw that forehead down toward the floor as well. Hold for a breath. As we exhale, wrap those shoulder blades around the front of the body, deepening the stretch and that opening through the outsides of the shoulders. We're going to wiggle one armpit to the mat and then lift it slightly and wiggle the other one down. We're rotating by taking that breastbone and gently moving it toward the screen and away, letting one side fall to the mat as the other side lifts up slightly. Let's come right back to the middle. We're going to inch our hands a little closer to each other and then bend the elbows, dropping the forearms down toward the floor. Let's shift the body weight over those forearms and press those shoulder blades down to the mat a little bit further. We're going to extend our legs down back behind the body, keeping the core engaged, belly drawn in toward the spine. As we come to a position where those hips are extended, we're lengthening those hips out, resting on the upper thighs, keeping that chin nodded gently toward the neck. Let's squeeze our shoulder blades together behind the back and then press them forward toward the mat. Squeeze them together, press them forward. Keep this pattern going, squeezing and pressing. Everything else should stay as still as you can keep it, except for those shoulder blades moving on that chest wall. Squeeze and press for 3 and 2. Last one, hold here for a breath. As we exhale, shift that body away from the screen. Let's tuck that forearm underneath, reaching it toward that screen now, and we'll turn it onto our back and bend up the knees, lining them up with our sit bones. Knees, feet, and hips are equal distance apart, and let's take our hands and press them firmly down into the mat. We're going to widen our collarbones away from the center of the body, opening up that chest wall, opening up that upper body. And let's lift the palms up so they face the screen. Thumbs pressed into the mat. Big breath in. As we exhale, we take that belly and engage it a little bit closer to the spine. And let's curl that pelvis. Moving the pubic bone toward the breastbone. Think of 12 o'clock. Release and reverse, taking that pubic bone toward the heels for 6 o'clock. Curl to 12, reverse and release to 6. Let's move between those two positions at a pace that's working for you. And I want you to do your best to keep that chin nice and still and that breastbone nice and still as we let that pelvis and the lower abdominals drive the motion. 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Coming back to neutral, we'll keep that navel engaged and drawn back toward the spine. Picture 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Take that pelvis side to side. One hip lifts as the other presses down toward the mat. And then we reverse, moving to the other side. Shoulder blades are staying level. Backs of the arms are pressed into the mat, and that chin and breastbone are facing the ceiling. 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Take the pelvis right back to the middle, breathing in. As we exhale, we're going to inch our heels a little farther away from those sit bones and keep the core engaged as we lift our toes. We're resting on those heels. Press the backs of the hands into the mat. Let's press that heel closest to the screen into the floor and unweight the other one. Float it back down, press the other heel as we lift the other one up. We're going to move through some small marches. If we take our hands and place them right on our hip bones, the way we were doing in standing as we were warming up, we'll be able to feel for stability in that pelvis and trunk as our heels lift. You want to try to keep that middle back, press firmly into the mat, and that pelvis nice and still and facing the ceiling as we march. Here's 4, 3, 2. On the last one, we're going to lift that leg all the way up to 90 degrees at the hips, 90 degrees at that shin. Point the toe toward the wall in front and keeping the core engaged. Let's see if we can raise our other foot up, bringing the legs to 90, 90 tabletop. Keep those shins parallel to the ceiling as if we're going to balance something on them. Let's take our hands and bring them up to the ceiling as well. Nodding the chin, we're going to reach our shoulder blades up to the ceiling and then drop them down to the mat. Reach them up, lower them down. Reach them up, lower them down. Everything else stays nice and still. If we want to challenge ourselves here a little bit more, maybe we extend those knees, lifting those feet up toward the ceiling to the point of a little stretch behind the thighs. Reach and lower the blades. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Keep those blades engaged and drop to the floor now. We're going to arc the arms forward, flipping the palms toward the mat, hovering those hands a few inches up off the ground. Let's pat those hands up and down, moving through our 100 breaths. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. We're going to keep that arm and breathing pattern going, inhaling for 5 and exhaling for 5, and a count that works for you. If we want to make this more challenging, those feet reach forward toward where the wall and ceiling meet, maybe even extending a little further down the wall. If we need a little bit of step backward to keep that core happy and that low back happy, we bend those knees to tabletop. And if we need to change things even further, we place a foot down on the mat for a little more stability. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Flip those palms over. Let's press the air to the ceiling. Breathe it in and out. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Breathe it in. Breathe it out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Last time. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flip the palms toward the floor. Draw the knee farthest from the screen into the chest, just using your muscles. And we're going to press our hands flat down into the mat and let those shoulder blades relax down into the floor as well. That bent in knee, take that toe on that side and place it right at the inner part of the other knee, the straight leg. We're going to hold there. Take a big breath in. Keeping the belly engaged, we're going to extend that straight leg down to a hovered position. Hold. Grab onto that bent knee. Give it a little pull into the chest. Nod that chin. We're going to take that outstretched leg and circle the wall in front of us. I want you to locate the bones in the back of the pelvis. Make sure they stay nice and still as that straight leg circles. Breathe in, and exhaling, we'll take it the other direction. Circle for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Stretch that leg forward, breathing in. And as we exhale, we're going to let go of that pulled in knee, press our hands back into the floor, switch them up. Opposite knee pulls into the chest. Keeping the core engaged, we're going to extend that opposite leg out toward the wall in front of us, first about halfway up the wall, and then we're going to keep our quad nice and active on that straight leg, and we lower down to our hover. Hold, stretch those toes away from your pulled in knee, and we'll draw that knee into the chest. Keep the core engaged as our straight leg circles the wall in front. There's 4, 3, 2, and reverse it. Circle for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Stretch that leg down to hover. Keep the core engaged and we'll switch. Inhale, pull the knee to the center. Switch your grip, press out to hover. Inhale to center, exhale and press. Inhale to center, exhale and press. Keep it going at a pace that's working for you. If you want to make this one more challenging, if your bone density is within normal limits, you are welcome to nod the chin and curl that upper body up just a touch. Regardless, we keep that belly engaged. Switch the legs. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to pull both knees in. Keep that core engaged as we lower the upper body down if it's been lifted, and let this look side to side. Take a big breath in as we look one way. Big breath out as we look the other. Take that head right back to the middle. Maintain that chin nod. And we're going to lengthen the leg farthest from the screen all the way out along the floor. Tighten up that thigh. We'll hang on behind the other thigh as we lift our leg up to the ceiling. Bend the knees if we need to get those shoulder blades pressed into the floor. And we'll flex and point and lengthen through that hamstring. Point those toes and wiggle them side to side. Point those toes to the ceiling, hold them there. Kick that leg into your hands just slightly for a little more support. And then keeping that core engaged, we're gonna hover the other leg up off the floor. Let's keep it there. Maybe we raise our arms to the ceiling for a little more support. Keep everything else nice and still. And that hovered leg is gonna go side to side. We're gonna try to keep the pelvis pointed straight up to the ceiling. Those arms and that toe reaching straight up to the ceiling on the stretching leg. Lengthen that moving leg forward to the wall in front, and we'll take our lifted leg now, the one that's on the ceiling, side to side. Draw a horizontal line out from midline all the way toward that screen. Again, try to keep the bones in the back of the pelvis nice and still. And let's move to circles. Remember, we could take our hovered leg to the floor at any point if we need a little more support. We can keep it lifted, and we can certainly increase the radius of that circle if we'd like to challenge it further. Pause at the top, breathing in. Exhaling, we'll take it the other way. Circle for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hang on behind that thigh. Again, we roll those shoulders back and down, bending the knee if we need to. Take a big breath. And on the exhale, let's draw that leg we just stretched into the chest. Hold it there as we breathe in. Switch it up on the exhale. Draw that opposite leg in. Slide the other leg out along the mat, tightening up the front of the thigh. We'll hang on behind that leg and lift up to give our hamstrings a stretch as we flex and point. Remember, we want to drop those shoulders to the floor, bend the knee if we need to get it there. Point those toes to the ceiling. We'll wiggle that ankle side to side. Point those toes to the ceiling, keeping the belly engaged. We'll hover that supporting leg up off the floor. If we want to challenge it further, arms float to the ceiling, and that hovered leg is going to go side to side for 4. For 3, everything else stays still as we can keep it. There's 2. And 1. Stretch the leg forward. Lifted leg goes side to side. Draw that horizontal line with the toes. Again, we can lower that hovered leg if we need a little more support. We could bend our knee if we need a little more support. And as we move to circles, maybe we think about increasing the radius if we want a little more of a challenge. Good, keep it going. Keep that chin nodded. One more time, pause at the top, take a breath. Exhaling, we'll circle the other way. Here's 4, 3. Good job, keep it going. Last one. Let's hang on behind the thigh. We're going to keep that knee straight as we're comfortable doing. Roll those shoulders back and down and reset that belly to the spine. Let's lift our straight supporting leg up to meet the other one. Switch your grip, float the opposite leg down to hover. Inhale and lift, exhale and switch. Inhale and lift, exhale and switch. Again, move through at a pace that's working for you. And if we want to give that core a little bit of a kick, a little more of a challenge, draw the belly down, take the hands to the floor, press them into the mat as we switch our legs. There's 4, 3, 2, good job. Last one. Let's draw those knees in, give them a hug, and rock that body side to side. All right, coming right back to the middle. Let's roll those shoulders back and down. Keep the core drawn down and engaged, and we're gonna float those knees back up with support from our hands right to our tabletop position. Keep the core engaged. Maybe we draw the belly a little closer to the spine, and maybe we tilt that pelvis slightly closer to that 12 o'clock position, flattening the back. Let's reach our arms to the ceiling. We're going to take that arm closest to the screen, back overhead, and stretch the opposite leg away from it toward the wall. Switch it through to the other side, keeping that trunk as still as you can. Keep it going through the center. Exhale and reach. Inhale, center. Exhale and reach. Let's keep it going for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take them back to the ceiling. Arms stay where they are. Flex those feet. Pull your toes towards your kneecaps. And we're going to lower the heels toward the mat. Keep that belly drawn down. And inhale to tabletop. Exhale, float them down. Inhale to tabletop. Exhale them down. Inhale to tabletop. We have 3 more. Maybe we challenge ourselves further by taking those arms back. Inhaling them up. Exhale them back. Inhale them up. Final time. Exhale those arms back overhead. We're going to let those heels come to the mat. Let's let those toes come to the mat. Walk the feet back so the heels are lined up just a couple inches away from those sit bones, and release those glutes, release that core, and open those arms back to the wall behind you. Take a few breaths here. Reach those thumbs as close to the floor as you can get them. We're going to take a couple breaths more at that maximum stretch point behind the head. Let's take an inhale again. And as we breathe out, nod the chin toward the neck. Drop your breastbone down. Take those lowest ribs and anchor them to the floor. And we're going to draw that belly down toward the spine. Hold them here for a big breath. As we exhale, let's float those arms to the ceiling. Take them down to the mat in front of us, breathing in. Exhaling, we're going to draw those heels to the floor and lift our hips up to bridge. Lower them back down. Keep the belly engaged throughout the motion. Press to bridge and lower them down. You're welcome to use whatever breathing pattern works for you, as long as you're making sure to take some complete breaths without holding the breath at any point. Good. We're going to hold that next bridge up at the top. Press those hands into the mat. And let's take them up and down on our toes. There's 8. Keep those hips lifted. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press the heels into the floor, breathing in. Exhale, take those hips down to the mat and release the glutes at the bottom. Big breath in. Exhale, bridge it back up. Press those heels into the mat. Keep the hips lifted. This time, we're going to take the arm farthest from the screen. Inhale it up to the ceiling and exhale it back overhead. Inhale it up to the ceiling. And as we bring it down, we're going to bring our opposite arm back. Hold the bridge, moving the arms. Alternating, taking them back and forth. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring both arms to the ceiling, breathing in. As we exhale, we'll place those hands down on the mat in front of us, taking another breath in. And exhaling, let's lower those hips down to the mat, releasing the glutes when that tailbone touches the floor. Take a few deep breaths in and out as we rock those knees side to side. Let your hip go along for the ride. If the knees come toward the screen, that opposite hip can lift. And the other way around as we come away from that screen. Bringing the knees to the ceiling, we'll reset, bring it in. Exhale, belly to spine, press back up into your bridge. We're going to keep our hips nice and level. Keep those heels pressed into the floor. Now let's pulse those hips toward the ceiling. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold them up there for 1. Belly and spine stay drawn toward each other. Wiggle those hips. Take one toward the floor and then switch it and take the other toward the floor. Rotate through the middle of the body. Take them side to side. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take them to the center, breathing in. Exhale, bridge down with control, releasing the glutes at the bottom. Let's rock those knees side to side, breathing in. Rock those knees side to side, breathing out. Coming right back to the middle, we'll regroup. Take an inhale. Exhale, belly to spine, press back up into one final bridge. We're going to move through marching or heel lifts here. See if we can take one knee to tabletop and back down. And then the other. Walk it through at a pace that works for you. If you need more support than this right now, feel free to lift one heel and then the other heel. Focus, as we are with tabletop march, on keeping those hips as still as we can. We're gonna march for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Press that foot to the floor, take a big breath in, lengthen the knees forward as we exhale ourselves down to the mat. Release those glutes at the bottom, give those knees a hug into the chest. We'll pull them in nice and tight and roll those shoulders back and down. Release the neck, we'll look side to side. Take it back to the middle. Let's take that leg farthest from the screen to the floor. Cross the opposite one over. Lift to figure 4 if we still have a little bit of room to move. And we'll take our body side to side. Rock away from that crossed leg. See how the stretch evolves? It might move a little bit, a little further to the outside of that hip. Coming back to the center, let's take those feet down. We'll unwind. Opposite ankle to knee, pull up into that figure 4. Let's give it a little rock. Keep it going. Take it back to the middle. Unwind. Those knees get one more hug. We'll take our feet to the floor and let's turn ourselves over to hands and knees. All right, once we're there, if you need a little extra padding, you're welcome to double up that mat and place it a little bit closer to the top of the shins. We have a little more give. We're gonna line ourselves up, wrists and shoulders in line, knees and hips lined up. Keeping that belly drawn to the spine, we're gonna press our shoulder blades toward the floor and curl through a few cats, reversing to a few cows. Try to keep this motion as much in the lower part of that spine and pelvis as we can. We're trying to make that breastbone stay fairly still and that pubic bone initiate the motion. We should feel those lower abdominals working right below the belly button. Coming right back to neutral, upper body stays still. We're gonna wag our tail, bring that hip toward the screen. Look over that shoulder. Can you find your toes? Cross the other foot over. Both knees are still on the mat here. We're gonna grab onto that ankle or those toes if you can reach them. And as we pull, gently bringing that foot toward the shoulder, we should feel a little stretch in the opposite side of the waistline. We're gonna hold here for a breath. Breathing out, switch it up. We'll look over that other shoulder. Find your foot, cross the other leg over. We're gonna grab onto those toes. And as we gently pull the foot toward our shoulder, we should feel the waistline opening up on the side toward the screen. Big breath in. Exhaling, we'll come right back to the middle. Curl again through cat and cow, initiating with the pelvis. And as we come back to neutral, we're gonna squeeze and press through our shoulder blades. Nice little shoulder blade push-ups. As we squeeze, we'll feel the muscles slightly working behind the back. And as we press forward, we should feel the outside border of that shoulder blade working for us. Squeeze and press. If we wanna challenge this further, we take that hand closest to the screen, right up to the thigh, and move through our opposite arm. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Switch them up if we've been in single arm. Opposite hand to the thigh, squeeze and press. Keep those shoulders squared off to the floor as best you can. Squeeze for 3, for 2, for 1. Hand comes down. Let's tap one hand to the opposite shoulder and switch it up. Again, the goal here is to keep that pelvis and trunk and those shoulders squared off and flush to the floor. To make this more challenging, we walk our hands forward, opening our hips toward the mat. We could turn the balls of the feet down, moving up to a plank if we want to take it a step further. Here's 4, 3, whether those knees are on the floor or lifted, 2, and 1. Hands come down, knees come right down under the hips if they've been elsewhere, and let's press the bottom back to the heels. And then breathe in back to that upright position. Exhale, press the bottom back. Good. Inhale, right back up. Keeping the belly drawn back toward the spine. We're going to look toward that screen. Open the arm on the screen side all the way out. First parallel to the floor, and then spin that breastbone. Look up toward the ceiling. As we exhale, that hand comes down. We'll switch to our other side. Open that arm. Look with the breastbone. Hand comes down. Inhale and open. Exhale, hand down. Switch it up. Inhale and open. Exhale, hand down. Let's curl to cat. Reverse to cow. Take it back to neutral. We're going to slide that leg closest to the screen all the way back. Lift it up a couple inches up off the floor. Hold it there. Take it side to side. Draw a little arc just above the floor. Try to keep those hips facing the mat. One more time. Slide that knee back in line with the other one. Switch it up. Exhale as we slide. Unweight the toes. Arc it side to side. There's 4. 3. Do we have something balanced on our backs now? Good. Lift that leg up just a touch higher. Opposite arm stretches out in front. Bird dog reaches. Switch it through to the other side. Switch it through. Keep that core engaged, particularly as we're bringing our hand and knee back down to the mat. That'll really help keep us controlling against rotation through that pelvis. Reach. Reach and hold. We're going to keep the leg where it is. Can we switch those hands? First hand comes down. Shift the weight a touch. Maybe that arm lifts up. Keep the leg still. We'll switch for 3. Switch the arm for 2. Switch the arm for 1. Everything comes down, breathing in. Exhale, opposite leg back. Take the other arm forward. Find your balance point. Shift toward that bent knee. Switch the hands only. There's 4. 3. Switch for 2. Switch for 1. Hand comes down, knee comes down. Curl to cat. Reverse to cow. Take it to neutral. Feet come together, knees come apart. Let's take that bottom back to the heels, and we're going to slide those arms toward the front of our mat. Drop that forehead. Big breath in. Wrap those shoulder blades around the front of the body, lengthening out through the sides of the trunk, sides of the rib cage, sides of those shoulder blades. Breathe in. Feel the back open up here. As we exhale, we're going to walk our hands toward the screen. Pause with them right next to each other or one hand on top of the other. Inhale. As we breathe out, let's walk them the other way. Again, we're going to pause hand over hand. Breathe it in. Breathing out, those arms come forward. Drop the forearms. Shift the weight over. And we're going to bring our knees a bit closer together. If you need support for your neck, double your fists over. Rest your forehead on those hands. We're going to take that leg closest to the screen. Press it up. Draw it down. Knee stays bent as close to 90 degrees as we can get it. Press and lower. Press and hold, hamstring curls. Straighten and bend that knee. 4, 3, 2. Bend and hold, pulse to the ceiling. Squeeze that glute. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend that knee back down. As we exhale, press the other knee up. Keep it bent as we lower it down. Press it up and down. Press and lower. Press and hold, breathing in. Straighten and bend that knee. There's 4, 3, 2. Bend and hold, pulse to the ceiling. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend that knee. Feet together, knees apart. Press back, bringing the bottom toward the heels. Lengthen those arms toward the mat in front. We'll take one more big breath here. As we exhale, that forehead comes down. Those shoulder blades come down. Those elbows come to the mat. Shift the weight over those forearms, and let's extend our legs back behind the body, keeping the core in control as we lower down to the tops of our thighs. Keeping those blades pressed toward the floor, we're going to shift our weight gently side to side toward the screen and away. Take them back to the middle. Bend that knee closest to the screen. Can we feel a stretch through the upper thigh? Switch it up. Let's see if we can bend and get that thigh stretch, all the while keeping that core engaged and that low back nice and still. It's okay to have a curve in your back. We want the curve to stay still as those knees move. Bend for 4. Switch for 3, 2, and 1. Let's take those legs down, breathe it in. As we exhale, we're going to bring the lowest ribs to the floor. Take our hands right next to those lowest ribs, and let's push ourselves back up to hands and knees. We're going to curl the cat, reverse to cow, take it to neutral, and let's take a seat on our mat, long sitting, facing lengthwise on that mat. Legs are out in front. We're going to bring them out to a narrow V. The big goal here is to keep the weight over those sit bones and that trunk up nice and vertically oriented. Straighten out the knees just to the point where we can still maintain that upright position. If you feel like you're starting to slouch backward, I want you to bend your knees until we're nice and upright again. We're going to take our arms out to the sides, just slightly in front of the trunk. Take a breath here and exhale, draw the belly up toward the spine and think about taking the head toward the ceiling. Rotate through that breastbone. We're going to rotate that trunk toward the screen and away. I want those sit bones to stay on the floor and to stay as stationary as we can keep them on the floor. We're rotating just a touch through that upper body. Arms go along for the ride. Coming right back to the center, we'll take our hands down to the mat, right to the outsides of our hips. Press the heels of the hands down. Shoulders stay away from the ears. We're going to take that arm farthest from the screen, arc it up and overhead. Bend the opposite elbow into the side as you take a tall side bend, reaching your hand up toward the corner of the room, right above that screen. Inhale up tall to center, exhale and switch. Push that opposite hand into the floor, reach the other arm overhead. Inhale up, exhale and side bend. One more time, inhale up, exhale, side bend. Let's take it up tall, roll those shoulders back and down. We're gonna line up our heels with our sit bones, grab behind those thighs, bring the heels back toward that bottom. We're keeping our body nice and straight. We're gonna try to avoid that curl. Keeping the body straight but angled back. Let's take our hands to the sides of the thighs, sides of those knees. Press the hands and knees toward each other. We're gonna hold it there and open one arm, close it back to the knee. Open the opposite arm, close it back to the knee. We're gonna repeat, there's 4. Switch for 3, switch for 2, and 1. Grab onto those shins, pull yourself up nice and tall. Roll those shoulders back and down, and we're gonna turn toward our screen, making our way up to tall kneeling. Again, if you need to double your mat up to give those knees more padding, you're welcome to do so now. Hands come right to the hips. We're gonna keep that core engaged and the hips as squared off, level pelvis as we can, as we extend one leg out to the side. Keep it slightly in front of your knee on the bent leg side to avoid cramping in that hip. We're gonna drop down a little further if we can, and let's hinge. We'll take the body forward, lengthen into that inner thigh, come up nice and tall. Again, lengthen forward, take it up. Arms come out to the side, breathe it in. We're gonna exhale and side bend toward our bent knee. Inhale up tall. Exhale, side bend toward that straight knee. Inhale up tall. One more time, exhale, side bend. We're gonna hold. Let's pulse that straight leg up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come up tall. Exhale toward that straight leg. Let's bring our bodies up vertical, hands to the hips. Re-engage that core if you need to as we move through our tall kneeling and over to the other side. Lengthen that opposite leg out, bring it forward a little if you need to. We'll square off our hips, take a breath. And as we exhale, hinge forward. Inhale up. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale up. Arms come out to the side, breathe it in, and exhale, side bend toward that bent knee. Inhale up and exhale the other direction. Inhale up. Exhale, side bend, reach and hold. Pulse that leg. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come up nice and tall. We'll side bend toward that straight leg. Let's bring our bodies up. Hands back to the hips as we come back to our tall kneel. And let's take those fingertips down, reaching toward the floor as the shoulder blades come away from the ears. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Flip the palms toward the screen. We're going to squeeze our blades and pulse the hands toward that wall. There's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold for 1, breathing in. Exhale, arms come down, and we'll make our way all the way down onto our side. Let's rest on that bottom arm. Knees are forward, heels are lined up with those glutes. We're going to take our top hand, press it into the mat. We've got 4 of each exercise. Knees come up and down, trunk stays still. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bottom knee stays down, lift that top leg. 3, keep the core engaged, pelvis facing the screen. And 1, hold the knee up there. Top knee stays still, lift and lower the feet for 4, for 3, for 2, hold them up there. Top knee comes down and up. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press that top hand into the floor. Straighten and bend both knees. 4, 3, 2. Toes touch. Bring that top knee down. Bring the feet down. Fire hydrant lifts. Whole top leg comes up and down. 2, and 1. Back to hip height. Straighten the bottom leg out. Top toe touch that bottom knee. Take the knee up and down. There's 4. There's 3. There's 2. There's 1. Top knee to hip height. We're going to straighten that leg out and then kick it forward. Swing it back. Kick it forward. Swing it back. Last 2. and kick. Last one. Swing it back, touch the toes down and up. Lower and lift. 2 more. Lower and lift. Line up that top leg with the trunk. Bottom leg comes up and down to meet it. We have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Top leg comes down, bend the knees up. Give them a little pat, and we'll make our way up and over to the other side. All right, resting on that bottom arm, knees are forward. Lift up that waistline, reset that core, and press that top hand into the floor. Lift those knees for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees come down, top knee presses. Here's 3. Here's 2. Hold the knee up there. Lift those feet. 3, 2. Hold them up there. Feet stay still. Top knee comes down and up. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press the top hand into the mat. Straighten and bend both of those legs. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the knees down. Bring those toes down. Fire hydrant lifts. 3, 2, and 1. Top leg to hip height. Straighten the bottom leg out. We'll touch those top toes to the bottom knee. Top knee comes down and up. There's 4, 3. Fight to keep that pelvis still. Here's 2. Here's 1. Straighten the top leg out. We'll swing it forward and back. Forward and back. Last 2. Last 1. Swing it back. Touch those toes down and up. Lower and lift. 2 more. Lower, lift and hold. Bring that bottom leg up to meet the top leg. Take them down and up together. We'll do them differently this side. See what you like best. Something to practice before next time. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1. Take them down. Bend those knees up. Give your hip a pat. And let's turn to our backs. Good job. Once we're there, we'll give those knees a little hug into the chest and let's rock that body side to side. Take a few deep breaths here. Pay attention to what's touching the mat, what's not touching the mat. Do you feel comfortable on the mat? Pause and close your eyes. Roll those shoulders back and down. We're going to place both feet on the floor, anchor the back of the pelvis into the mat, and we're going to cross that ankle farthest from the screen, or actually closest from the screen, over to that far knee. Lift up, pulling the opposite knee into the chest if you can. We'll hold for a breath. Breathe it out. As we inhale again, bring those feet to the floor, unwinding them. Opposite ankle crosses to that knee closest to the screen, and we lift up to figure 4. Hold for a breath. Breathe it out. As we inhale, that foot comes down to the mat. Unwind those legs, and we're going to make our way over to hands and knees. Once we're there, we'll curl through 2 more cats, 2 more cows. Ease that trunk into a position that'll be well set for us to stand up. All right, turn those toes under. We're going to bring our hands back down toward our knees. Press into the hands and let's shift our weight toward a flat foot. Once the weight's over those ankles, we can come up nice and tall. Shake those knees out. Take your time. We're going to finish with balancing. So as always, if you need to find something stable to hold on to, a wall, a chair, a sofa back, go ahead and do it now. Meet me in the center of your mat or close to that stable object if you need it. And with those feet hip width apart, we're going to shift our weight toward the toes. Hold it there. Hover those heels off the floor. Once we're stable there, we're going to take it up and down. There's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shift the weight back over the front of the ankle joints. We're going to find our way to heel toe standing. Hold it nice and still. Cross those hands if you can. Hold on if you need to. Can we close our eyes here? Really feel what the feet are doing to keep you nice and stable on the floor. Open those eyes back up. Turn that head. These turns are all optional. If standing in that tightrope position is challenging enough, I want you to stay right there. Let's shift toward that back leg. Lift a single leg balance, hold it here. If this is hard enough, stay here. Hold on if you need it. Otherwise, we're gonna shift the trunk forward, extend that leg back behind the body. Wherever we are, we're gonna hold for 4, 3, 2, and 1, and we'll come up nice and tall. Let's switch it up. Arms come down, opposite foot comes forward in our heel toe tightrope stance. Cross the arms if you can. Close the eyes if you can. Open them back up, turn that head. Let's look forward. Shift toward that back leg, find your single leg balance. Hold it here, or challenge it further. Tip that trunk forward, bring that leg back. Find your balance point, square those hips off. Take it up nice and tall. Bring those feet down, shake those knees out. All right, as we bring our feet shoulder width apart, we'll send that crown of the head all the way back up to the ceiling, and let's roll those blades back and down for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's take our feet together. We'll close with a big breath in, bringing those palms together, fingertips to the ceiling. Exhale into center. Happiest Friday to everybody. As always, I'm really grateful to have you here with me and definitely look forward to next time.